Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and for the month of April I am doing Protest Art April. And yesterday I did sort of a demo and review video of the Pentel Feud pens, and in that one I used a watercolor paper, but the sketchbook I'm working in now isn't sized. It is a Lectrum that's been discontinued. It's the 180 gram that they don't make anymore. And I'll link videos talking about the old paper versus the new paper and the sort of demo I did. So I won't be watering this one down to get a larger grayscale value range. I'm just going to do black and white. My subject matter for today is human trafficking. That is a very difficult subject, but that's what's happening. Yeah. So, how is your April going? There is only 1 week left, and and thus begins May. And I'm definitely going to be doing Mermay for the month of May because I love that challenge so much. But I'm also going to be doing another one. I'm going to be doing a game of shrooms, which is sort of a geocaching mushroom related art for the community. I really like being able to give art to the community. It's really great if you want to get into art collecting but don't have the budget, and I don't know, I just really like it. I think it's really fun. But the art has to be mushroom related. I'll link some things. I've done videos talking about it before. If you want to sign up and create art to hide in your community. It's in June, the first week of June, and I typically wait in great Kendra fashion. I wait till the week prior and then work crazy hours into the night finishing my mushroom art, but in my infinite wisdom I don't want to do that this time, and I thought it might be really interesting for folks to see how I put together art like that, because creating on different surfaces and doing a project that's very specific and thought out, I thought maybe you would like to see everything that's involved, like behind the scenes, and not just, oh look, I made a thing and I show you the thing. So I think for the month of May, my Tuesday videos are going to be the entire process from start to finish of how I go about creating art for the community. And it's sort of my thought process behind things, like the questions I ask myself, the lists I make, sketches, the whole thing. Because I think somebody can say, oh yeah, I spent whatever, 2 hours, 4 hours. The ones I did last year were about the size of a cup coaster, and I did them on petrified wood, and I bought these little slices from our local gem and mineral shop. But I had never painted on petrified wood before. That is a whole unique experience. It's sort of like layers. Think of layers of paper like pressed together. So when you go to paint on the top layer, it could very easily sort of peel up to reveal another layer because it's like a petrified stone. It's a really bizarre thing, and I bought smaller ones because I thought, oh, this will be fine, I'll start it a week prior. Working in such miniature, oh my goodness, the magnifying lens and everything. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. So I don't want to work quite so small this year. I don't mind working small, but it takes a lot longer. So they were like this big, like 4 by 4 inches. And they took me anywhere from 4 to 3 hours a piece. So but that's just the painting. That's nothing else. That's not the behind the scenes process that actually goes into figuring out what supplies you want to use, what medium you want to create on, where you're going to hide the things. Like, I really want to sort of delve into all that, just in case, like, you're curious. Because I could say, oh yeah, I spent $12 last year making 3 Game of Shroom objects for the community and hid them. It took me 10 hours to paint them, but in total it took way longer. So I think that might be interesting. I don't know. So I think for the month of May, my Tuesday videos will be Game of Shroom process, like behind the scene stuff of, it's sort of like that sort of iceberg. Have you seen that comic? It shows an iceberg and then it says what the public sees of an artist, and it's just the top tip. And then it shows below and it's the huge whole piece of the iceberg, and it says what actually goes into the art total. It's very much like that. What you see is just a small chunk of the whole, of every process, of everything I go to do. And it's all artist stuff is kind of like that. A lot of jobs are kind of like that, where the prep and the thinking, like I stay awake thinking about ideas, and I have a notebook by my bed where I write things down of, oh, that would make an interesting video. Oh, that would make an interesting illustration. Could I incorporate that to its own challenge? Is that something that'll go into a challenge this year? Would that work for a challenge next year? Like, there's a lot of planning and mental prep that goes into some of these things. And I mean, a great artist makes everything look so seamless and easy, and I just thought it up and it magically appeared, but like, that's not true. Artists prep and prep and prep and prep and prep. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. So it's time well spent. 100% recommend, but I just think that if we're going to help each other and support each other and talk about art, we need to talk about the actual realistic process of it all. Not just sort of the romance of it and not be realistic. And then, you know, a new creator comes along and goes, well, my stuff takes 8 times as long. Why is yours so quick? Well, they may not be giving an accurate representation of the time they actually spend. So we can talk about that. You know what I mean? We can get into that. Can you see her? She's starting to come into view, into focus. Well, this is going to be a real quick one. I have some quick things paired with some heavy days. The days I go to acrylic paint in this book, it takes over an hour for it to dry. So I started painting earlier in the day and then I let it sit. So when folks leave and they go walk the dog and do the things, I can just sit down and create on top of that, which is nice. Planning. Planning is always nice. But yeah, so that's where I'm at in my thought process. I just thought, you know, you see me talk about a challenge, but then you never see me like put things together and plan and prep for stuff. And I do. Even if it's in my head, like it should be articulated and, you know, and maybe that'll help motivate and inspire and give you ideas for some things you want to create and do. And maybe you won't be so hard on yourself when things take a different amount of time than you anticipated. Because I would hate for folks to think, oh yeah, well that just is so quick for them. Yes and no. Some of it's experience and practice. And some of it's not even being cognizant that you're dedicating time to something, even if you're not physically creating, you're just thinking about it. So that's still valid work in my mind. If it's taking away from other things in your life, you're still working. So this is kind of what I have for my woman with short hair. And then I'm going to go over the top and do some lettering so people know This is for trafficking. A typical like human trafficking poster image is a photograph with somebody with duct tape over their mouth, and that's just, I guess I could do photography for some of this. We have a little Polaroid that might be fun, but I really just want to create and paint and draw, and I thought any chance to use one of these fun brush pens again is worth it. So I hope you had fun creating with me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.